as humans, at least in this part of the world, I think a lot of us struggle with taking on the stresses and anxieties of those close to us, friends, intimate partners, maybe even colleagues at work. And a lot of the times, I know, at least for myself, I have taken on these anxieties and stresses as my own, and tried to help others, tried to control their circumstances so that they wouldn't fall. For example, my parents. And I was talking to somebody recently, and they had actually brought up this challenge that they have with their partner that they just started dating. And this person said to me that they can't help but to feel anxious and worried themselves when their partner is going through an anxious time or feeling down, and that they often feel responsible for their partner's feelings, and they need to make them feel better in order for them to feel better. And maybe you yourself, and myself included, have felt this my entire life, and I really truly believe this is one of my lessons in this life to learn, because I spent a lifetime trying to help, for example, my mother when she was alive. Wonderful person, had an addiction to alcohol, an addiction to escaping whatever uncomfortable feelings that she had felt for so long that she wasn't able to deal with. Since I was a little girl, I did my very best to make my mom nice cards, bought her gifts, told her I love her a bunch of times, please stop drinking. And then as I got older, I would fight with her and lash out on her, but then I'd also try to ask her if she'd want to come out swimming with me, to come out for going for walks, because as I had to watch my parents make unhealthy decisions and not have the ability to cope with daily stresses in my life, as I watched this, I also became very hyper aware of the things in life you probably shouldn't do. And I started leaning more towards being more active and health and wellness. And while I was doing this, I was also trying to bring my mom and my dad along on my journey of health and wellness. And as much as I tried, it never seemed to work. And although I know my mom probably really appreciates all of my attempts to try to help her, because I know she knows, or she knew, that I loved her very much and I just wanted to help her. But no matter what, nothing changed. And to be very honest, my mother died. When she died, she was actually drunk. It was an accident. She was drunk and she ended up passing out and hitting her head, and the way she fell on the floor, or fell in between the stairs and like a fence outside, ended up cutting off her air supply. But overall, my point is that she was drunk when she died. And when I think about that, I think about how many years I tried to control and help and change my mom. But no matter what I did, and although I know that she appreciates my efforts, it didn't change the fact that she was on her journey. And I also want to mention that my father is still alive, and he also has a lot of challenges where I try to help, but most of the time he doesn't take my advice. And it's like I've lived this entire life where I had to watch people that I love struggle, and I'm here giving them the answers, but no matter what, they just don't ever listen. It's like life is trying to tell me, you can't control other people. And this is what I wanted to share with you guys today, as an example, as a lesson in your own life, because I know that most of us feel this burden, this anxiety of, feel the burden of the people that we love their burdens and anxieties, and we feel it. We feel that we are responsible or have a duty to help and change them. And I'm not saying that we're not supposed to be there and be supportive and loving to the people that we love most and that need us in their lives. But what I am saying is that we are all on our own individual path and journey in this life, learning our own lessons. And the best thing that you are able to do if you have a partner or a parent or a friend that is constantly stressed and anxious and making decisions where you're trying to tell them, maybe you shouldn't do that, do this, but they keep on doing other things and you're like, oh my God, right? We need to recognize that the best thing that we are able to do for ourselves in these stressful situations and for the other person, the best thing that we can do is to be the model. And what I mean by that is to, when you start to feel anxious and worried about your friend, your partner, your parent, and you start focusing your energy on trying to control and change them and give them all this advice, you're only causing anxiety in you. And you may even be causing anxiety and pressure on the other person, because nobody really likes to be told what to do. And most of the time, everybody comes to their own conclusions in their right timing, right? You can like plant a seed in somebody, but you can't actually make them do that, or they won't realize, if they ever do realize, until they realize within themselves. You can't make somebody realize things. So what we can do is we can be the model, which means, like they say when you have kids, right? Act and be the way in which you want your child to be. Don't live by that model, say as I do, do as I say, not as I do, right? You want to be the living model, do all the things that you think are good and you would want other people to live by as well. And when you are being like this and you are not trying to control and put your beliefs and opinions on other people, you are living in your center, you are aligned, and you are being authentic, and you're living in your own energy. You're not feeling the anxiety of others. And the other people, or the person that you're worried about, also is living in their own energy and not feeling this pressured energy coming at them from you. But instead, they just see you glowing, being, doing great, which means they feel less pressure. And then that gives them space to decide for themselves what it is that they want to choose to do in their life. And one part of this that has been a real challenge for me, because we're all so used to trying to control others and thinking that we have that control, we have that power, right? One hard thing is letting go of that expectation that you have of the other person, and sometimes having to sit back and watch somebody suffer, cry, go in and out of the hospital or in and out of addiction places, detox rehabs, or in and out of relationships, or you have to watch one of your friends in an abusive relationship and they won't leave. It's like I said to my friend the other day, you have to sit and you're being forced to watch a horror film or like a movie that is extremely emotional and sad. How we deal with this, one thing that I said to my friend was, how we deal with this heavy stuff, and with the recognition that we have no control, but we can only be the light, we can be the model, love and support, plant the seed, bring the horse to the water, but don't make the horse drink, right? how we can do that is by creating these practices of mindfulness, like meditation, or going for walks, or doing breath work, yoga. In the moment when you're feeling that upset and that need to control that person because the suffering is making you feel like you're suffering, we need to step away from the situation itself, from the person, from that energy, and we need to align ourselves back. The suffering and the reality of our friend or partner situation is still going to be there. But the important part is that we have these tools, these techniques of mindfulness that we can focus our energy on in these moments of distress, to practice bringing our energy back to ourselves, and also affirming and reminding ourselves that that person's journey is none of my business. What my business is to be myself and to be a model and to live authentically in my center and to not try to control that person's path. Because when I try to control, I create anxiety in me and disconnection from my center cognitively, right? And from an evolutionary standpoint, right? You're creating stress, anxiety, and fear. As I've mentioned in my other videos, you narrow your focus. You can't think of anything, you can't think of any solutions or creative thinking. Excuse me. You're not able to be present in the moment and live your life when you're in this constant state of fear, especially when you're in a constant state of fear about somebody else's life. When I start to feel anxious and overwhelmed and lost, when my father is making decisions that are not good for his health or his well-being or his living situation or anything, and I start to feel anxious and afraid and overwhelmed, this is my reminder to go and realign myself, be with myself, take a workout class, do some breath work, and pray from the depths of my heart that he's going to be okay, and offer advice or resources or whatever it is that I think that might help him, but to not try to control his situation to make him feel better so that I feel better. Because I need to acknowledge that just because he might not be doing good doesn't mean that that is my responsibility to make him feel better and that this is his path. When we start to recognize our own energy and our own beliefs of feeling responsible for other people's emotions and overall their path or their journey, and we start to take back our power, there is power in the stillness and in bringing back your energy of that energy of trying to control people and situations, and to acknowledge that we're only responsible for ourselves.